It's a historic night for NC State women's basketball here in Raleigh, unveiling a Final Four banner. Fresh off its best season in 25 years, number 9 NC State opens up the home slate against ETSU out of the SoCon. Dynamic night here in the ACC and a great start to the women's basketball season. Welcome into Reynolds Coliseum with the former Towson coach, Derek Jordan. I'm Evan Budrovich. This top 10 Wolfpack team returns high expectations. Big game on Sunday against number 1 South Carolina. Derek, tonight, how do the Wolfpack find their form?
Well, NC State lost both post starters last year, Mimi Collins and River Baldwin. So they've got some young and inexperienced posts that they really need to step up and elevate their game. But as Coach Moore said, the guards have to be the stars. Sanaya Rivers and Isaiah James played so well last year. They've got to lead this team to get back to the Final Four.
If you're just joining us, NC State last year was not ranked entering the year, but goes all the way to the Final Four, upset wins over Texas and Stanford. And this team brings back 3 guards, but replaces 2 forwards. Derek, how about those guards and senior Sanaya Rivers?
Well, Sanaya Rivers is a tremendous athlete. She can score at all 3 levels. She hits the 3. She can drive to the basket. And she's one of the most elite players in the country with her pull-up jumper to elevate over smaller guards. But on top of that, she wreaks havoc on the defensive end. She led NC State in steals last year, finished 2nd in blocks from the guard position. She's just a tremendous player all around. And Isaiah James is the other member of this dynamic duo. She scored 17 points a game for the Pack last year, earning all ACC honors. But she elevated her game even higher in the NCAA tournament. 23 points per game, which was good enough to earn her the Portland region most outstanding player and lead the Pack to the Final Four.
It's a matchup of guards today, and Braylon Milton, the Cincinnati transfer. How does she help out the Buccaneers on both ends?
Well, she does a great job at Cincinnati of distributing to her teammates and scoring. So tonight, I think she's going to have to really get all of her teammates involved. But she had a big game against ACC power Louisville, scoring 28 points. She's hoping to replicate that kind of success in her ETSU debut.
Braylon Milton anchors a great lineup for 3rd-year head coach Brenda Mock-Brown here at ETSU. Wes Moore, the 2nd winningest coach among active coaches, and there's Brenda, who won 2 conference titles at UNC Asheville just up the road. And now the 3rd ever meeting, Buccaneers and Wolfpack. Welcome to the 2024 basketball season. What an exciting week to basketball. We've seen ranked matchups aplenty. USC Ole Miss battling it out. And here in the ACC, Zoe Brooks and this dynamic Wolfpack team, a quick turnover.
And one of the goals of tonight for NC State is to try and develop some chemistry. You got some new groups out there. Lizzie Williamson with her first start as a member of the Wolfpack, and we'll see how they can build on that chemistry.
There's the ETSU starting 5, and it features ECU transfer Paige Lyons. Braylon Milton needs some big minutes tonight. What an attack of the bucket. A miss for Kendall Foley, the all preseason SoCon standout. Zoe Brooks goes this way. Lizzie Williamson down low gets her first career start and 2 early turnovers. Derek, we noted in these openers, how do teams ease into the first 5 minutes?
Well, it's all about execution tonight. And I know NC State really wants to push transition this season, but sometimes it helps to settle in to just run one of your plays that you've been practicing all off season just to get that first early good look.
3 of those 4 guards, all ACC, including Brooks, who was part of the freshman team. There's a missed 3 for the Buccaneers. Offensive board. Milton has it back. ETSU tonight without 2nd leading scorer Courtney Moore out with a hand injury, and it'll stay here.
And Coach Brenda Mock-Brown, she really wants the ETSU to focus on getting the 3-point shot. She was hoping to be in this game. They need to hit 13 threes tonight, so we'll keep an eye on that as the game goes on.
And that's a Herculean number. That's Florida Gulf Coast leading the country in threes if you're hitting 13 a night.
Right, that's a very ambitious goal against this defense that NC State has.
Down to 7 on the shot clock. Foley off the pick. Foley, great step through, but misses. Williamson the board. This is where NC State wants to be aggressive. Rivers in transition. Kicks it out. James misses the 3. She made 100 of those a year ago. Both teams easing in, still searching for our first points of the new season. Foley, good pop. Here's Downing off on the jumper. And the teams combined 0 of 5 from the field.
ETSU not sending anybody to the offensive glass, trying to stop NC State's transition.
Wolfpack scored 75 points a game a year ago, and Rivers hits the first.
That's one of the keys for her this year. She's moved from the point guard off to the wing, looking to really get more scoring out of her. If she can hit that three consistently, the sky's the limit for her game.
Only 26% last year. That was a huge emphasis for her in the offseason. Nearly a steal. Here's a three. And Lions go strong. Good tussle for the boards, and a jump ball keeps possession here. How vital is that offensive glass for the Buccaneers tonight?
Well, as we talked about, they're not going to crash very much because they don't want NC State to get this into a 94-foot game. But when you're shooting that many threes, they're going to be long rebounds. If they can create more possessions, it gives them a chance to stay in the game.
Remember, ETSU's best player, Nevaeh Brown, went in the transfer portal on the final day of the window. She's now playing at Central Florida for Coach Satia Messer. Here's a deep three that's blocked by Brooks. Zoe running the break with Isaiah James. James calls her number. That's a pretty good one. First bucket for Isaiah.
Excellent job of driving, under control, makes a nice pull-up. She missed the exhibition game, nursing a little bit of an injury, so good to see her back out on the floor at 100%.
James among the Ann Myers Drysdale National Player of the Year watch list here for NC State. That's big accolades. With the likes of Hannah Hidalgo here in the ACC. Little kick out. Lions for three is a bit short. ETSU 0 of 7 from the field. Look at Brooks go to the bucket, but short, and a foul, a reach in. So free throws for the sophomore Zoe Brooks.
Great job pushing again by Brooks. Nobody on ETSU stopped her, so she just took it all the way to the basket. Didn't get the finish, but gets 2 free throws here.
Remember, Brooks last year only started 7 games, and that was due to an injury in ACC play. Typically the 6th man and making an impact tonight in the starting role.
Right, and Brooks and freshman Zam Jones, so talented at the point guard spot. That's why Coach Moore decided to push Sanaya off to the wing to utilize her scoring and to get Brooks and Zam on the floor.
NC State last year made 14 free throws a game. That led the ACC. As Brooks misses the second, the broadcaster jinx alive and well on night 1.
Yes, right off the bat.
With the longtime Towson coach, Derek Jordan, I'm Evan Budrovich. Thank you for joining us night 1 here at NC State. Where a number 9 national team has number 1 South Carolina on Sunday. And there's ETSU hanging tough in its SoCon opener. This is Lucy Hood off the bench. The Runyon Gap, Georgia product, kicks it. Kaylee Carson the cross. Clock to 2. Bucks got to go, and a steal. James picks her pocket. Elite ball dribbling with James, and that pass a bit heavy for Williamson. There's a turnover.
And again, without River Baldwin from last year, that might be in a pass that she could get to. Lizzie Williamson still finding her spot, working on the chemistry between these two. But as we mentioned a lot, South Carolina, plus you've got TCU Ole Miss early in the season. NC State's got to really try and get clean tonight to be ready for those bigger games.
Those top forwards both graduated. Mimi Collins, River Baldwin a year ago, with Mimi in attendance tonight for the banner ceremony. Who can fill that void? As Lions travel, that's 4 early turnovers for ETSU.
And East Tennessee State talked about getting good shot selection, which they did in the first few possessions. And here's Wes Moore. He was 5th among active coaches in wins. He moved up to 2nd this year because of 3 different coaches that retired, only behind Gino Oriema.
Madison Hayes checks into the game for NC State. Good pass to Brooks. Brooks spins off on the jumper. Good defensive board for the Bucks. Lucy Hood, who won 91 games in 3 years of high school. She was electric down in Georgia. Where are the easy looks going to come from for ETSU? James takes the charge, and that's an offensive foul. That was a role that River Baldwin was really good at a year ago.
Yes, she was. And NC State, it seems like that's an emphasis because they've got a lot of players that have been taking those charges. Isaiah James starting off this year right where they're picking up where they left off.
Here's our first subs of 2024 for both teams. In comes Mallory Collier, the sophomore to Millington, Tennessee. Big center down low, 6'3", a lot of size.
She's very strong, too. I think she's going to take advantage of some weaker posts from the Bucks.
Collier, 3 points a game as a rotational player a year ago. Here's James. Look at James putting on a show and misses the jumper.
NC State not crashing the boards very hard to get those offensive rebounds.
Nice kick out for Lucy Hood. ETSU 0 of 7 from the court. Snotherly the kick. Hood, an air ball. And stifling defense from the Wolfpack. Leading to offense. Rivers, no look. Hayes misses. And the Pack are 2 of 6 from the field. You can tell both teams easing their way into this one.
Yeah, a little bit rusty. Both teams had some players out with injury and exhibitions, and so now they're getting their first look this season.
That'll lead us to immediate timeout. It's an offensive foul on Brecken Snotherly. Low scoring start here in Raleigh, but plenty to talk about when we return to NC State.
On the team, officials, timeout on the board.
Back to Raleigh, where NC State, a record-breaking season, 31 wins, first trip to the Final Four in 25-plus years. And it's interesting, Derek, most teams go to a Final Four, lose a lot of players. NC State returns 75% of its scoring.
Yes, and that's why they're ranked 9th to start this season. There's a lot more expectations compared to last year when they started unranked, but knocked off 9 AP top 25 teams last year, and tremendous season for the Pack, and they're just trying to duplicate it.
In comes a new freshman for NC State, Zam Jones, and there's a foul on ETSU. Zam is the highest rated recruit for the Pack, a 5-star, top 20 player in the country coming out of high school.
You've got Zam and Zoe Brooks, both highly rated point guards in the last 2 classes. They're really going to be a dynamic group for the Pack over the next 3 years.
Zam's from nearby North Pitt High School in the Greenville area. And there's an offensive foul on Collier, a moving pick. That's a new emphasis in college basketball this year.
Yes, it is. They want the defender or the offensive player to really stay set. Let's take a look here. It's going to be the handoff, and Mallory Collier right there. You see her sort of hip checking, sort of moving into it. And if she's going to want to roll legally, she's going to have to get all the way to the basket right there. Just look like she turned into the defender.
Do you adjust to that as a player now you see that foul call?
You do, especially if you're a veteran player. Mallory's a little bit young, sets up. She's going to have to adjust, hopefully within the game or when she starts watching film.
As Foley hits the jumper, good adjustment from the senior.
Yeah, Foley was second team all-conference 2 years ago. Battled a lot of ankle injuries last year. If she can get back to form, this Buccaneers team could win their Southern Conference.
James into traffic, and Zam Jones travels. That's 5 early turnovers for NC State.
And that's got to frustrate Coach Westmore, that you come into a game like this, you really want to work on execution, and turnovers take away any opportunity to score, and they've got 5 already.
You can tell both teams are easing into these first 6 minutes. A lot of expectations, the banners, the excitement. Let's see who can find their rhythm in this first quarter. Snotherly gets tripped up, no foul. What a pass! And that heads towards us in a backcourt violation.
Well, and whether you're a freshman or a senior, there's always jitters in that first game, just trying to get worked up into a lather. I think if some of these players can hit a shot, start to feel good about it, you'll see the scoring go up.
I think these players are watching Sabrina Ionescu with the WNBA Finals throw one-look passes. A little tougher in her first collegiate game. This lob is tipped away. Good hands by Isabella Hunt.
Yeah, great job fronting the post there by the Buccaneers. But Maddie Cox, that's really a force on that pass. You got to really see the numbers to make that throw.
Youthful forwards for both these teams in terms of experience. This is Hunt's first game with ETSU, formerly of Mount St. Mary's, where she played here in Reynolds as part of a play-in round tournament 2 years ago. Rivers on the drive. Rivers bangs it off. No good. Now the Buccaneers in transition with Milton. Open 3. That's way off. ETSU 0-6 from deep. Isaiah James into her bag. No more headband for James. The extra pass finds Rivers, who misses. Collier the board and stripped. Good hand, Snotherly. Here comes Carson slowing it down. ETSU only down 4 late in this first quarter.
Right, their defense are limiting second chance points. It's keeping them in the game.
Open 3 again. That one's in. First triple for Foley.
And once she made that first pull-up jumper, she developed that confidence. She's starting to get loose. She's really the player the Wolfpack has to try and stop tonight.
Foley only shot 18% from deep last year. That's a huge improvement. And now it's the Pack who haven't scored in 3 minutes. Look at Coach Mott anchoring up her defense. Top 10 in the country in scoring D a year ago. Collier, good find from James.
Good patience by Isaiah James right there. Drove to the basket once she got the defender on her hip. Waited until she saw the opening and dropped it over the top.
Last year it was Chattanooga who led the SoCon in scoring defense. And they're hanging tough in this first quarter. Another three. There, the bank is open. Braylon Milton on a Tuesday.
And that ties it up for the Buccaneers. Crowd getting restless here at Reynolds Coliseum.
This is the third straight year. Kentucky, South Carolina, NC State. ETSU's played really good foes game one. Collier banging down low for two more.
Great pass by Zam Jones. You see Collier's strength right there, staying with it through contact.
Collier averaged 4 points a game last year, but she's going to be a big presence down low with Williamson mixing in.
She's really shown a lot of improvement from her first time on campus.
Carmen Richardson checks in, the freshman out of Orlando. Foley, 1v1, gets past Jones. Foley escapes. Good kick out to Carson. And she misses. A tussle for the boards. And look at the Buccaneers coming out with it. Jump ball will change possession. You got to like the hustle on the glass, though, if you're Brenda Mock.
Oh, yeah. East Tennessee State is not intimidated at all to play here at Reynolds Coliseum against the #9 team in the country. Here's a good look at the long rebound on the three-point shot, but look at East Tennessee State get on the floor. No Wolfpack players on the floor, 2 Buccaneers on the floor. That's something Coach Moore will look at in film and talk about. Ladies, we've got to have the effort.
Does that not remind you of last week with Halloween candy on the floor and kids just fighting for it?
Right. It was like a piñata with all the candy goes to the ground. Everybody's got to go after it.
It has that night one euphoria. Here's the new forward for NC State, Lorena Owu, and she turns it over. Uber talented freshman out of Illinois. Another 4-star recruit.
A lot of potential with Lorena right there. It was her first touch, I believe, of the whole game. Her feet, she got excited. Her feet just shuffled.
That's a storyline. 6 NC State turnovers in this first quarter. And ETSU can continue this run. Foley the shot fake, and she travels.
Well, last year, Southern Conference member Chattanooga came in here in the NCAA tournament with a game plan to play tight man-to-man defense, grind it out, held NC State to 26 points in the first half, stayed in the game until late in the third quarter. Looks like the Buccaneers are trying to use the same strategy tonight.
That was Coach Sean Poppy who led the Chattanooga Mocs. He's now at Virginia Tech, replacing. Here's down low look. Kenny Brooks, the coach I'm referring to at Virginia Tech. Owu's first touch, and she traveled again. And you could tell both teams trying to figure out the calls tonight.
Right, exactly. And the first time, she definitely got excited, shuffled her feet. That time, I didn't get a chance to see it, but obviously they saw shuffle that pivot foot once again.
ETSU can hold for the final shot as the Wolfpack bring in another talented freshman, Tilda Trieger, out of Stockholm, Sweden. Foley kicks it. Milton on the mismatch. Up top. Can the Buccaneers take the lead late? What a drive, and Trieger. Welcome to NC State.
Quite a welcome to the team right there, the freshman out of Sweden.
She's too polite to wag her finger like Mutombo, but that was a huge block.
Well, that's something you got to develop over your 4 years. By the time she's a senior, she can bring it out.
5.8 seconds. Lyons was leaking. Here's Snotherly. That's a deep 2. And that bounces out. Zoe Brooks just misses. And that would count, too. Defensive-minded first quarter, 10-8. We got plenty of hoops, and we return to NC State. Welcome back to NC State, where both clubs feature a lot of new faces. That's 5 freshmen for Coach Brenda Mock-Brown, 4 returning players. That's a lot of pieces to put together for ETSU.
And that's why I think we've seen some ragged action offensively for both teams. It's just trying to integrate all these new players. It's difficult with only a few practices before the opener.
Not to mention top returning scorer Nevaeh Brown transferred out to UCF. And for NC State, it's the youth movement. Those are 4 top 100 freshmen in the country. All 4 have played, and a lot of expectations for Wes Moore.
Right, 2 straight top classes for NC State, and each one of those freshmen brings some special talent to the team.
Right now, 2 of those are on the court. As Lacey Steele gets her first minutes, and a deep 3 is an air ball. It's been a bugaboo for the Bucks, 2 of 10 from deep.
Right, and we talked about how they need to hit 3s tonight. Only hit 2 so far. They're certainly shooting them at 10, but 2 for 10 is not going to get it done.
ETSU wants to make 10 threes a game on average for Coach Mock. That's the expectation. Steal. What a find to Owu, and that's a blocking foul. Paige Lyons took a locomotive in the paint.
You can see Lorraine Owu's athleticism right there. That was a very difficult pass. Not only did she control it, but she was able to get it up on the glass to draw 2 free throws. Here's Lacey Steele driving. See, this is a very difficult pass with 2 defenders. She was able to get it, draw the foul. Tough call there on the Buccaneers, but she did undercut her just a little bit. Oh, they did not give her 2 free throws.
Oh, it's a foul on the floor, so first team foul for ETSU. Neither team in much of foul trouble. Lacey Steele has been asked by Westmore, need to be a catch and shoot threat. Here's a steal. Buccaneers in transition ahead to Snotherly, and Braylon calls her own number. That's no good. Here's Brooks. Calm, cool, and collected. Good deflection. Milton saves an open 3.
Turnovers have been the absolute story. The Wolfpack just not taking care of the ball. That last post entry right there, pretty clean bounce pass. The freshman Owu just couldn't handle it.
An ETSU team that won 18 games a year ago is battling hard in this first half.
They finished second 2 years ago. They were picked to win the league last year, battled injuries, and I think they're a little bit under the radar this year because of the way they finished.
Wofford is the preseason favorites with Jimmy Garrity, one of the active winningest head coaches in Division I. Here's Brooks 1v1 into her bag, and the pass stolen. Back come the Buccaneers with Milton. Milton step through. Lovely finish.
The transfer from Cincinnati really has that ability to drive and score. Ties up the game.
Madison Hayes attacks. That's where she's special. Her first points.
She made that exact same move against Chattanooga for a big 3-point play that sparked the Wolfpack last year. We'll see if that sparks the team tonight.
97 career games for Hayes. That's a ton of experience. Here's Milton out of Cincinnati. Milton has his. Traeger affects it. Offensive board. Richardson into her bag for 3. That's short. Oh, look at the hands trying to sneak in there. ETSU has forced 9 turnovers. Owu has it poking away, and it stays here. What has ETSU done to frustrate the Wolfpack?
I think NC State is forcing some passes right there. Lacey Steele had the kick out. I thought she had time to take the 3, which is her specialty, but instead she forced it inside and another deflection out of bounds. I think NC State just needs to settle down, take the shots that they're given, and right now they're forcing it inside a little too much.
Speaking of new faces, Devin Quigley, the Manchester, New Jersey guard, another 4-star recruit, checks in number 0. I think Agent 0, Gilbert Arenas, anytime I see that number in modern basketball. There's a foul on the floor, and Isabella Hunt.
Devin, a tremendous scorer, scored 33 points a game in a season up in New Jersey. She loves to drive it to the basket. We'll see if she's aggressive early in her career.
And Westmore doesn't give compliments out very often. He said she can light it up at all 3 levels.
She reminds me a lot of Isaiah James when she was a freshman. Can come in, give about 10 minutes a game of instant offense for the Wolfpack.
Here's James in her senior year going to work. James draws contact, but that's on the floor. And a touch foul on Kaylee Carson. That's her first.
Kaylee Carson, the freshman out of Charlotte, was a highly recruited player as a sophomore in high school, was all conference or player of the year in her conference, battled some injuries, so she sort of settled into this level, but Coach Mock Brown feels like she could turn into a star at the SoCon level.
And look at Coach Mock on that sideline. She is active, she's animated, she's a great coach, formerly at UNC Asheville. Won 2 conference titles, does so much to get the best out of her players. Isaiah James creates space, but misses. Here's Williamson. That pass deflected. Lizzie comes out with it.
Good effort there by the Pack, really scrambling for those loose balls.
James, tough pass, and another travel. Double-digit turnovers, and Westmore can't believe it.
James can't believe that either. It looked like a step through and a drop-off pass over the top.
10 turnovers. This Wolfpack team only averaged 12 turnovers a game last year.
Definitely has the look of a first game of the season.
Virginia Tech led the ACC in turnover ratio, but the Wolfpack were in the top 3 overall. Milton step back 3. That's off. 2 of 12 from deep, but still a 2-point game. Quigley, her first shot. goes home. Friendly bounce here in Reynolds.
And right on cue, she took that first pass in transition, drove, made a tough pull-up jumper in the paint.
Devin Quigley and Zoe Brooks were AAU teammates. Kind of started the connection for Westmore on the recruiting trail. Nice look to Hunt, who's failing it. Good bucket.
She's got the most experience for this Buccaneers squad. As you mentioned, played for Mount St. Mary's, went to 2 NCAA tournaments.
Coach Mock called her an old soul, and she's working hard on Williamson, who misses the bunny. Helping out with the rebound is Hunt.
Williamson needs to take her time. Once she finally got it gathered, she had the easy layup and she rushed it.
Richardson way short, as both teams shooting below 40%. Jones. Sam Jones draws a charge. Good footwork by Hunt. Well, the old soul's found her groove tonight.
That'll be another turnover for the Wolfpack. Taking a look at the drive right here, Sam Jones might have been able to get around that in high school, but as you mentioned, the experience of Hunt was able to slide over, get the charge.
Remember, in women's college basketball, the feet don't have to be set on the charge. It's the position alignment that's so important.
Right. If they can stay in legal guarding position, they can draw that charge whether they're sliding or not.
Third offensive foul for NC State tonight. Braylon Melton's turn. Tip drill. O-board goes out of bounds. Kennedy Youngkin, the Asheville, Ohio product, fighting for the board.
I feel like I see East Tennessee State running their sets, getting good pick and rolls. Where on the NC State's end, I feel like I'm seeing a little bit more one-on-one play. I think Westmore probably needs to get them in a set and get them into better shot selection.
Here's the three. Really good catch and shoot. Richardson for the lead.
Yeah, we didn't even think she was going to play tonight in her notes. She was going to be out, but got her hand taped up, her left hand, and she's playing well.
Making it happen. Third triple for an upstart ETSU. James into trouble, and James double dribbles. If you're Brendan Mock-Brown, you got to love the intensity defensively.
Yes, this is exactly what she wanted to do when she came into the game. Tight man-to-man defense, build a wall. Here's a look at East Tennessee State off the inbounds play. That's too easy of a look off an inbounds play. Just one pass. NC State's got to close out on the shooters, force the Buccaneers to drive because, as we've mentioned all night, they are looking to shoot the three. So close out hard.
50% of the shots are for deep here for ETSU. Now Gemma Grutner-Bakul into the game. First appearance for the junior guard. Bakul staying cool under pressure. Nice kick out. Another three. It's Lucy Hood.
And that was just a simple pick and pop right there. NC State's got to do a better job getting around the ball screen, so it's not an easy kick out.
Sam Jones in attack mode, and this game heats up. Collier the board, no. And wow, if you had ETSU up 4 on your bingo card, good for you. Midway through this second quarter. A team picked 5th in the Southern Conference, but won 18 games a year ago. Really experienced team. Melton enters the lane. Good kick out. It's another three. Oh, Snotherly nearly had it.
Big miss there for East Tennessee State. They really could have stretched that lead.
Sam Jones. Nice pass to Quigley. The freshman connection short. And this is ETSU basketball. We'll step aside, and Derek, a good start for the Buccaneers.
East Tennessee State, you saw that drive and kick out for a big three. They are hot tonight. They got a 4-point lead going into the break.
ETSU up 4 midway through this second quarter. This is nothing new for Brendan Mock-Brown's club. Look at the last 3 years. Don Staley's #1 team in the country, a ranked Kentucky program in years past. And tonight, Derek, we've seen the best version of ETSU.
Yes, Coach Mock-Brown likes to challenge her team early, see where they're at. That South Carolina game got away from them. They were obviously an excellent team. But the Kentucky game, they led by 9 mid-third quarter. Didn't finish it at the end, but only lost by 8 to an SEC school. And tonight they're showing the same moxie that they did in Lexington last season.
I see what you did there for Coach Mock.
That's right.
One of the all-time winningest Big South coaches back in her day at UNC Asheville. And here's ETSU up 4. NC State double-digit turnovers. That's been the difference in the second quarter.
I think Coach Moore's got to be talking about that in the timeout. Take care of the ball, get good shots.
Snotherly the kick. And that one rattles in. Back-to-back buckets for Youngkin.
I think East Tennessee State was at risk early. They missed all those shots, started 0 for 8 of getting blown out of this building. But NC State didn't take advantage. And now that they've settled in, they've developed a lot of confidence.
Largest lead for ETSU. Sanaya Rivers back in the game, wasting no time with a miss. And last touch by the Buccaneers. Where's the offense come from here for NC State?
Well, I feel like, as we mentioned, they've tried to force it into the post a little bit. I want to see them spread a little bit more, do the pick and rolls, let James, let Rivers, let Zoe Brooks drive to the basket, see if they can get all the way for an N1.
Last year's Final Four team had 6 players average 10 or more points. Tonight, no one with more than 4 for NC State. As they work it in the lane, Collier has those 4 points, wants 6, and she's got it.
And you saw the difference with her and Awu, the freshman versus the sophomore. She stayed patient, her feet were settled, made a strong turn over her left shoulder for the score.
6 important first half points for Collier, whose career high is only 8, so she's putting on a nice night. And there's an offensive foul, illegal pick. Youngkin picks up the foul, pardon me.
Right, and that was just almost a giveaway for East Tennessee State. NC State was going under the screen, wasn't really a scoring opportunity, but by just sort of rolling into it, created the turnover with the offensive foul.
Megan Downing returns to the court. She turns 21 next month. This is a big learning curve tonight down low. Zoe Brooks for 3. Hayes the board. That's no good. Tip drill, Quigley. And a touch foul on Kendall Foley. That's an important one, her second.
It is, because she's so important for this team. They need to keep her on the floor. We'll see if Coach Mock Brown leaves her and takes a chance. But back to NC State, you're finally seeing them crash the boards. You saw Hayes with an offensive rebound, Quigley with an offensive rebound. I think that's going to be the answer for State, is to create more and more possessions.
And you could tell Brendan Mock Brown wanted to hold Foley in, but consulted her staff, and Honey Brown, great assistant, no relation, electing to go to the bench. So first career free throws for Devin Quigley. Boy, this place got quiet quick, and the freshman knocks it in.
Sometimes that's even unnerving. You're not used to it getting that quiet because it's generally so loud in Reynolds Coliseum. Almost another sellout tonight.
The Pack 2 of 3 from the line tonight. Makes both. And one more substitute for ETSU. Lucy Hood re-enters, who was an All-American cross-country runner and All-State. Really athletic. Here she is with the basketball.
And when you're recruiting, when you can get those multi-sport athletes, you know that they're going to be able to do a lot more things for you.
Speaking of cross-country, NC State women just won the ACC title. They're a reigning national championship contender. But back on the hardwood, we got a 2-point game. Milton with 10. Gets the screen. Milton enters. Oh, the lefty finish is good.
Impressive finish there. I bet NC State was not expecting that left-handed scoop.
When Milton was in Cincinnati, those teams tangled in the Bahamas in a Thanksgiving tournament. She played well, but didn't score a bunch. State obviously won that championship. Here's Hayes. Knock it in the 3.
The senior leadership right there. She was spotted up. She was ready. Quick release. Knocks it down. She really improved her three-point shooting last year. Expecting that to carry over again this season.
Here's the steal. Brooks on the run. NC State fouled. That's an on-the-floor foul. But with the foul situation, it's the bonus.
Brooks did a great job of getting her on her hip, keeping her there, because that gave her a wide-open lane to the basket. Now here's that last possession. Brooks with the drive and dish. Look at the quick release by Madison. Swish. And then just an unforced turnover almost. But look at Zoe Brooks. Gets her on her hip so that she had the wide open lane. I think she was hoping for just a play on because she had the easy layup.
Zoe Brooks makes this all of a sudden a tie game. Lead as big as 6 has dwindled quickly.
2:31 left in the half. East Tennessee State, if they can keep it close, they're going to feel really good about themselves. NC State, though, can look at this advantage, this opportunity to try and take a lead and extend it. I almost could see NC State pushing this to 9 or 10 with some more aggressive defense.
Kaylee Carson re-enters, the Charlotte native. Remember, Madison Hayes has hit 94 career threes at NC State. That's an added weapon to her assault.
And she's going to play a little bit of the power forward position this year, as she's doing right now. And that's a tough matchup for any other forward in the country.
Megan Downing finds a good option in Carson. Clock to 10. ETSU 2 minutes without a bucket. Snotherly steps through the lane and hits. Whoa, next level move.
Very nice up and under move for Snotherly. Good defense by NC State, but better offense on that finish.
Brooks dribbles through two, hangs forever and hits it.
NC State starting to settle in, more of that penetration right there. Last time Brooks kicked out for the three, this time took it all the way for the finish.
Here's the steal. Madison Hayes on the move. Extends the lead.
You can almost feel it coming with that three that she hit. Crowd is getting into it. The Bucks have to stay composed.
Are a huge bugaboo for ETSU.
Yes, they've got to stay composed right here.
Rivers with the foul. You can tell she wanted it.
Here's a look right here. On the handoff, Madison Hayes jumps right into it. Quick hands, drives all the way for the left-handed finish. That's how you get going in a game where you're struggling offensively. Get a freebie. Gives everybody a little bit more confidence.
13 fast break points for NC State. That's a weapon of Wes Moore's club here in 24. With #1 South Carolina looming on Sunday, this is a big opening test. Carson finds Foley back in the game with 2 fouls. Open three. That's a bit strong. Quigley the board. Final minute here in a fast-moving second quarter. A lot going on. Brooks. She's found her range. Zoe Brooks up to 7.
Yeah, the confidence is, you can see it in her face right there. They cannot stop her on that penetration.
ETSU led by 6. NC State's flipped the script. Carson pressured. Hayes has it. Rivers. Sanaya wisely backs it out. Plenty of time. Brooks for 3. Just off. Carson with a good board, and ETSU can hold for the last shot.
Bucks weathered the storm just a little bit. They can still make it a 1-possession game with a finish here.
Preseason all SoCon. Kendall Foley. Nice screen. Foley drives. Foley banks it home. What an end to the first half.
Perfect execution. Exactly what Coach Mox Brown wanted. 1-possession game at halftime. Big surprise that East Tennessee State has stayed in it, but they have looked great.
#9 team in the country. A slow start for NC State. ETSU hanging around up 6 at one point. We got a tight one. 3-point game at halftime. Plenty to break down when we return to Raleigh. Dropping down the Final Four banner from 2024. We got a really big team. You need some really big rings, and they were handing out championship rings. A great season for NC State a year ago, and the players reacted to it, enjoying every second of that fantastic moment. Just a cool night for NC State women's basketball as we continue our halftime show with Derek Jordan. I'm Evan Budrovich. So not just the players that drop banners. Derek, you want to take it away, my friend?
We got our own banner here.
We got a banner.
That's right.
That. Looks pretty good. That? Well, Derek, I will say for NC State, it hasn't been a banner-level performance tonight. How did the Wolfpack figure things out in the second half?
Right. East Tennessee State's crashing the party tonight and not letting NC State run away with it. But NC State, too many turnovers, 12 turnovers in the first half. They've only got 4 assists on 11 made baskets. They got to make crisper passes and take care of the ball, and I think that'll lead to better offense.
NC State did flip the half there to take the lead at the break. And Derek, early on in this game, it was turnovers that cost the Wolfpack.
Yeah, and you see a lot of post passes that were not clean. There you got Lacey Steele throwing it in. Zoe Brooks trying to get it across to a Wu, just forcing things a little bit. And then not clean catches. It's just trying to develop the chemistry with the new post players. But as they started to settle in, they started to limit the turnovers a little bit. The last 5 minutes of that second half, you had the nice kick out here. Madison Hayes with the 3. And then East Tennessee State, they had 10 turnovers of their own. Only shot 35% overall and 25% from 3.
And Derek, you mentioned it, though. It's those 13 fast break points that kick-started the pack.
Yes, I think transition, not just tonight, but for the entire season for NC State, is going to be crucial. They've got to push tempo. 29-26 is not the way NC State's looking to play this season.
Zoe Brooks capitalized to run. ETSU was up 6 late in that quarter, and NC State closed the frame strong. Yeah, usually in an opener, 12 turnovers. You don't expect that from a quality team like NC State.
Right, and a team that is generally takes care of the ball. It's an emphasis that Coach Moore has, but not tonight. And so I started to think about, was it East Tennessee State's defense or NC State's offense? And I think it's a combination of both. Forcing passes, but you got to give credit to the Buccaneers for getting in the lanes, getting those deflections, and playing the defense that Coach Mock Brown is famous for in the SoCon. Very aggressive and very tight, packing it in.
It is an energized crowd here tonight as NC State not only hangs banners, but gears up for a hectic week of basketball. #1 Don Staley waiting Sunday in Charlotte.
Right, it's a huge test for NC State on Sunday, and so they not only want to try and get the win here in the second half, but to start to build some confidence for Sunday, because right now they don't look like a very confident team starting the season.
Malaysia, Fulwilly, and South Carolina are waiting. That was a club that struggled with Michigan last night.
Right, it's
a tight game.
Michigan's been a good program the last couple of years, but you expect the #1 team to really come out and dominate. They were playing on a neutral site in Las Vegas, but Michigan cut it to 2 points with less than a minute to go. Had a shot there, but South Carolina made their free throws down the stretch to finish it.
Starting 4 with Mallory Collier coming in for NC State to begin the half. She had 6 first-half points.
And Collier really did a good job. She's earned that start in the second half.
Here's James with a quick bucket to begin the second.
I think simplifying it right there, James got a nice mid-range jumper, just went ahead and took it.
Back to a 5-point lead. NC State shot it at 40% in the first half. Here's Downing off on the 3. In that first half, ETSU hit 4 triples. Brooks the other way. Rivers draws the double. Sanaya stays strong. Gets her board. That time, no. Here's Brooks. Rivers. That time hits it.
Senior leadership coming through right here. The dynamic duo we talked about in the opening, Rivers and James. 2 big shots to get it started.
Both guards part of the All-ACC preseason team. That hadn't happened at NC State in 20 years, a combination of top 10 players. As Rivers gets the steal. Sanaya in transition, breaks open the second half.
She is a big-time leader for this team, and she is really stepping up. Exactly what the Wolfpack needs. Now, how will the Buccaneers respond? They're going to settle it down, run a set.
It's a 7-0 run out of the break, and you can tell Wes Moore's words have paid off. There's Kendall Foley, preseason All-SoCon with some distance.
Coach Moore not pleased with that. Went under the screen on a good 3-point shooter. Cannot give her that open look. Really ends the momentum right there.
Here's Collier down low. Great spin move, but couldn't finish it. Collier into 2. And her presence down low, that physicality important tonight for the Pack.
Right. And Sanaya Rivers, too, right here. You see the kick out for 3. Makes it. And then defensively being really aggressive in the passing lanes. Gets the steal, takes it all the way. We talked about the stars need to be the stars for the Pack. And so far, Rivers and James in this third quarter are doing it.
We have a timeout here for Brenda Mock Brown. And this will become the media timeout as well. So we'll take the break. 2 minutes in. ETSU looking to regroup, down 7. It's a story of 2 intense defenses tonight. NC State that only allowed 60 points a game last year. And Derek, even for ETSU, a top 50 scoring defense, both have vitalized on those turnovers.
Yes, and NC State needs that transition offense, and so playing hard defense, creating the turnovers, is what's led to all the fast break points for the Pack.
ETSU only allowed 55 a game. This is more a chess match than a checkers battle tonight. Who can find buckets? Isaiah James out of the timeout. Rivers has 8 to lead the Wolfpack. Sanaya in her senior season. Great space. And a rare miss in the second half. James the board, cleans it up.
Offensive rebounding is so crucial for the elite teams right there. James crashing the board, not settling.
How about 6 rebounds for Isaiah James? You don't see that a ton from the senior guard. As Rivers picks the pocket of Foley. Here's Rivers running through Raleigh and draws contact. Been waiting all offseason to say that one.
Yes, and great step through there by Sanaya Rivers. Wolfpack gets the steal. Rivers, now she's not in front of her, but sort of crosses over, and ETSU not able to get position.
So Milton's call for the foul. That's her first, and Milton will sub out. Although I believe that's on Richardson. We'll double check that. If there's one area for Sinai Rivers that could grow from year 3 to 4, it's a 73% free throw last year.
Right, she has the ball in her hands a lot in late game situations. She needs to be more consistent in finishing those free throws.
Pushes this lead to 10. Remember, ETSU led by 6 late in the second quarter. Here's a press. A collision in midcourt. Brooks is down. And a jumper missed in transition. Offensive board, Downing. Let's hope Zoe Brooks is okay. She took a hard hit from Rivers.
She's back in, but a little bit limping.
This is Paige Lyons, the ECU transfer. Richardson. Nice move. Richardson flips it in.
Not good help side defense by the Wolfpack right there. You got to seal that.
But you're ETSU you're dying for a bucket, and there's a quick look.
Exactly, and that's what Coach Mock Brown is looking for, is good shot selection. That time they were patient, they got it.
Downing's hands leads to a foul. And just reading the body language of Wes Moore, well, let's take a look at this real quick.
Oh, that looked like two defensive backs trying to get the interception running into each other. Both Rivers and Brooks were a little bit gimpy.
Good news, both remain on the court here for NC State. Isaiah James, perfect move in the lane, and James heating up. She's got 8.
Quick little warning right there to not hit the ball after made basket, but it gives NC State a chance to set up this press. We haven't seen that in the first half. A couple of possessions here trying to change the momentum, change the tempo.
NC State +7 in this second half. Here's the pressure, clock to 1, and just gets it over. And Carson can reset for Coach Mock. Carson kicks. Lions into the trees. Richardson's been battling a wrist injury all offseason. Works into traffic. Downing with 2 and travels. ETSU with its 13th turnover.
Defensive intensity continues to pick up for NC State. Sometimes you go to the press as a coach just to jumpstart the team, just get them a little more aggressive. Pays off not only in the full court, but in the half court.
And that's what Coach Mock's asking. We've seen a lot of travels tonight. Getting the explanation from Billy Smith, our lead ref. Brenda Mock, she's a hoot on the sideline. Always encouraging, always working her players.
Very entertaining.
And year 3 here at ETSU as Brooks drives in and banks it home.
That's pure talent right there. They're going to try and go press off a made basket.
Brenda Mock, whose husband's pursuing his PhD in engineering right now. It's a busy time in the Block Brown household. As there's a miss and a hard fight for the rebound.
Tough collision right there.
Haley Carson took the worst of that. And his possession, ETSU. How about that? Brenda Mock was out of the coaching business for 3 years. Her husband was working on his PhD, and an opportunity down the road opens up, and she brings her longtime assistant, Honey Brown, here from Asheville. Great connection for those two.
And she and Coach Mock Brown is a Waynesville, North Carolina native, way out west of North Carolina. Good spot for her, out in Johnson City.
Brenda's been at Florida, Charlotte, and Georgia Tech in her coaching tenure. A lot of experience, and played at Wake Forest just down the road. Isaiah James surveys. Remember, NC State lived in the paint with River Baldwin last year as that point forward. Not many looks in the lane tonight, and a deep 3. Foley's turn. Nice bucket. That's Carson.
Buccaneers are going to go zone here. Force NC State to make some outside shots. Ball movement will be the key.
How about a 10-point game with 5 minutes left in the third? James' turn. Isaiah James 0-2 from deep. That's been the story for NC State.
NC State staff upset that they're not crashing the boards there.
And the folks in Reynolds thought that was a turnover. Lions. Quick steal, Rivers. She's got 3 of those. Rivers lays it off. James. Air ball. Hayes, foul. The energy from Madison Hayes.
That's exactly what NC State needs. Aggressive, crashing the boards and scoring. The miss there by James, but Hayes is right there to finish. And here's the celebration for the Pack.
Home opener for number 9 NC State. And after a rocky first half, the Wolfpack have found their sea legs, outscoring ETSU by 9. And Derek gets started by forcing 4 Buccaneer turnovers.
NC State has really picked up the intensity on defense. James and Rivers both with 6 points, really leading the team. That's what they need for this team to go far this year, so it's good to see that. Still knocking off the rust, missing a couple of shots that they're probably used to making, but I think you're starting to see signs of why they've been picked in the top 10 to start this year.
Madison Hayes, who made the bucket going into the break, misses the free throw. So the top 4 scorers with 8 or 9 points for NC State. That was the recipe in last year's Final Four run. Had 5 starters, averaged 10 or more. But no longer. Top 2 forwards have since graduated. It's a young guard team. Here's Braylon Milton off the screen. And that's an illegal screen on Isabella Hunt.
And Madison Hayes earned that call right there for working so hard defensively. Made it really difficult for the Buccaneers to screen her. Madison Hayes, right, see how she's trying to get around, force that moving screen, just aggressive defense.
And NC State playing off her energy.
Right, she's always been known as the glue of this team the last couple of seasons, that she brings the energy, she brings the fight, does all the little things.
Zam Jones checks in the game and a turnover. Milton has numbers. Here's a 3. That's needed. Big one for Lucy Hood.
She was known as a 3-point shooter out of high school, bringing it right into the college level.
Was she ever? Shot 60% from 3 in high school.
Very impressive.
Those are Derek Jordan numbers in shoot-around.
The old lefty back in the day.
Former NC State manager turned Towson coach as Jones misses the bucket. Hayes somehow got the rebound.
Buccaneers going zone here. NC State trying to find open looks.
Nice pass. And Brooks connects.
Great cross-court pass by Sanaya Rivers. She's got great vision. It's why she was such a good point guard the last season. Even from the wing spot, she's able to get some big assists.
That's 4 triples for NC State, but 4 of 15. What does Kendall Foley have left? Playing through an ankle injury. Swings it to Hood. Brenda Mock calling the play out from the bench. Rivers nearly a steal. Milton heaves. Wedgie. Offensive board. And a foul on Brooks.
Got a lot of ball there. Might have gotten her with the body, though. Be 2 shots for East Tennessee State.
What do you think, foul or block?
Long shot right there.
And it's election night. I want your honest truth.
There was some contact, but I didn't think she really displaced her. That's a play on for me, but the referees have such a hard job. I know I wouldn't want that job, and she did move her a little bit, so I can see why the call was made.
Isabella Hunt makes the free throw. 90 career starts for Isabella. ETSU with a free throw, back within 10. And if you're a mid-major in a game like this, that's the sweet spot in the second half.
Right, Coach Mox Brown, I feel like coming into the game, she didn't know what she was going to get from her team because they had so many newcomers. She was hoping for a good performance, and I think she's got to be extremely pleased with what she's seen so far. 9
new faces, and second leading scorer Courtney Moore out via injury tonight. Throwing up quickly against a number 9 team. Jones passes. Brooks. With Trieger in there on the board. And the true freshman resets. The 6'5" Trieger finds Rivers. She rattles out. Foley ahead of steam. Great pass. Extra ball. 3. It's good. Braylon Milton.
Very unselfish play by the Buccaneers. Took the extra pass, got it to the wide open shooter. Zone gave NC State a lot of trouble last year, and it's happening again in this opener.
How about 7th triple for ETSU, and the ball movement sets that up. Little zone defense here for Hayes. She connects.
Good job stepping out in the short corner there. That's always a little open spot against the 2-3 zone.
Madison Hayes and Zoe Brooks now both in double figures. And is that not modern college basketball? 43-point attempts, and we're late in the third. That was Brenda's goal. 13 threes coming in. They're halfway there. Milton, good Hezzy. Milton blows by and hits it.
You can see why she had Power 4 talent playing at Power 4 conference talent playing at Cincinnati. Great drive and finish.
And Wes Moore wants a 30. So he's going to talk it over. So what has ECU done to flip the script late in this third?
They've been aggressive driving. They've been unselfish with their passing. The zone defense, I think, is really coming effective because it's forcing NC State to take threes, which is not necessarily their bread and butter. But Zia James going to get back in there. She's the one that breaks up the zone. And I think that's what they're going to need to do, or teams are going to just keep packing it in the zone until NC State proves they can make the three.
Remember last year, ETSU was up in the second half over Kentucky. Lost that game late in the fourth. And Brenda Mock-Brown, third year here at ETSU, won 25 games in year one, 18 games. She said we got a ton of talent this year, and we're seeing it tonight.
Yeah, you can see how well coached they are as well, because we saw the missed shots and turnovers early. They just seem a lot cleaner here in the second half. Very together. Back to the man-to-man.
Sam Jones runs into traffic. Can NC State feed Traeger down there? Brooks spin cycle. Final minute of this third quarter. No easy look. And James creates one. Put the ball in the senior's hand and let her go to work.
Good patience by James. She could have taken the three there, but instead the shot fake, the drive. She's left-handed, so that left-handed finish comes naturally for her. Shot fake, the hard drive by the defender, and finishes with contact. That is key. Here she is.
And then watch Hayes on the back end.
The energy.
You need one of those decibel meters with Madison Hayes. Like an Arrowhead last night, that place was bonkers with Patrick Mahomes in overtime.
That place gets really loud even when it's like 30 below wind chill. Those Chiefs fans come out in force.
Another awesome crowd in Reynolds Coliseum. Loaded up with Ole Miss coming to town in 2 weeks. It's a good home schedule as Hayes kicks it.
You saw NC State be very effective in spots with this press the last couple of years with Mimi Collins at the top. Now we're seeing Madison Hayes, similar build, not quite as tall, but we're going to see how effective they can be to maybe get a couple of steals here, turn the momentum.
Westmore going to the full court press, and Snotherly breaks it. Paige Lyons on the move, blows by Traeger and calls bank.
Hesitation move. That was pretty.
5'6" versus 6'5". Traeger, uber talented freshman, sets the pick. Zoe Brooks makes it happen. She's got 13.
She does such a good job of controlling her body, going through the air, finishing.
Milton way short. There's Jones. Pack running. James hangs forever and draws a foul. That's on Richardson.
That's a great job by Richardson to cut James off. Made a silly reach-in foul because that was a tough little pull-up jumper.
The way Zia James can just float in the air for like 3 seconds, she buys a lot of time.
She does, and it doesn't look like she's getting that high off the ground, but she just glides so well.
It's a shot that led her to scoring nearly 1,000 points plus at NC State in game 96 of her career.
We'll see if NC State presses again. This is a great time to press because you know the Bucks want to hold for the last shot anyway. So if they beat the press, it doesn't really hurt you because they're going to pull it back out.
In fact, Zia James now 20 points away from 1,000. She's been cooking. Chef Zaza, as they call it.
Zaza, definite nickname. Beloved figure on the squad.
Final seconds of the third. Brenda Mock's team needs a bucket. Lions got to go. Richardson off the screen, way off. Richardson, oh my goodness. tenacity, toughness, buckets.
What an effort play by the Bucks to cut it back to 10. They are not afraid at all.
True freshman Carmen Richardson, welcome to college basketball, Derek.
Yes, very aggressive right here. Rips it out of the hands of the freshman. Finishes strong, and East Tennessee State still in this ball game.
Welcome back to Raleigh, where the game of the week heads this Sunday. NC State at home opening its season, but coming up next, #1 South Carolina, Tahina Pau, Malayla Fulwilly, and then the two great cards for NC State. What a dynamic matchup on Sunday.
Very exciting matchup in Charlotte. They've been talking about this all off season. It's a rematch of the Final Four. It was a one-point game in the Final Four last year until that third quarter where South Carolina blitzed the pack 29-6 and pulled away.
And Derek, if you're NC State tonight, what do you use this fourth quarter to get ready for South Carolina?
I think you want to up your intensity, up your defensive intensity, and your execution on offense so you feel comfortable. South Carolina is such a good defensive team that you're going to have to execute on Sunday.
Malaysia Fulwilly, the SEC tournament MVP. Both clubs a little short in experience of the center position, but these guards like James are going to work because she misses the bunny.
Right, Chloe Kitts, the center for South Carolina, had 19 points and 14 rebounds in their opener against Michigan, so she's stepping right up.
That Dawn Staley-Westmore matchup, two of the best in the business, as that three's off from Foley. South Carolina, who plays an incredible schedule, won 40 straight games. How did the Pack pull the upset Sunday?
They're going to need three-point shooting to be more effective than it is tonight. They're going to get a few open looks. The other thing is defending the defensive rebounding, because South Carolina crashes the glass so hard.
On cue, there's a fight for the boards. And ETSU with the O board.
And you're seeing ETSU 2 straight offensive boards. That's a killer in this game, and it'll be even more of a killer on Sunday.
#9 versus #1, but here tonight it's ETSU on the drive. Lions flips, and that one rolls out.
Pretty dipsy-do there. Unfortunate for her, it didn't fall, but nice play.
In a state where Muggsy Bogues made a living for the Hornets, there's a jumper.
Sam Jones, such a good freshman right there. Just a simple pull-up, so under control. She plays already better than you would think from a true freshman.
NC State with 7 different players scoring tonight. Here's Lyons blowing by Owu, and good hands. And then a tackle with the ref. 5v4. It's a power play. Across the street from the home of the Hurricanes, Rivers, the power play goal.
Dynamic score from Rivers. I feel like she could take over whenever she wants in most games. Plays a little bit unselfish, but her drive is so powerful.
This 14-point lead is the largest for NC State, and we'll take an early media timeout. ETSU looking to regroup here in the fourth as NC State starts to pull away here on the opening night for both clubs. Speaking of new talent for NC State, Tilga Traeger's family all the way from Stockholm, Sweden, all the way across the country. The Traegers in attendance, brother, mom, and dad coming out, and it is unique, fun all the way across the country to find her daughter and get an NC State debut.
I remember seeing them last year on a visit, and she's easy to spot at 6'6". She was excellent on the Swedish U18 team and the U20 team. She's got range to 3 with 5 threes. Great to see her parents be able to see her play in her Wolfpack opener.
Tilda Traeger, who grew up watching Nick Lidstrom on the hockey rink. She was a great ice skating hockey player growing up. That's obvious in Sweden. You got to love all these sports. Did gymnastics, play basketball, and on the bench here with an NC State 14-point lead. Milton in the face of Rivers. Offensive board. Clock did not reset. Someone's got to go. That shot is off and in. Wow, Richardson again.
She didn't even know until there was 1 on the shot clock. Heaved it up. Great form, though, even though she was well beyond the line.
Her best shots are when it's panic, pedal to the metal, and she makes things happen. There's a Wu down low, looking for her first points at NC State. A Wu muscles. Free throws coming.
You see her strength right there. She just ripped that ball away on the offensive rebound. Westmore still trying to find that post. It's going to be the anchor. I don't think he's figured it out.
And with Chloe Kitts coming on Sunday, you need a post presence. Oh my gosh.
Great job by Brecken Sutherly. You see her calling out the shot clock. Carmen Richardson with the swish. And East Tennessee State, they just keep hanging around.
Call it the Richardson mentality. Oh, no time on the clock. Heave a prayer to end the third. Heave a prayer right there. Lorena Owu still waiting for her first career points. It's not the baseball keep the ball treatment, but there is something to this, getting over the hump. And there it is.
And there it is right there. Just makes you feel better that, okay, I don't have to worry about it now. I can just play.
Lorena Owu, who led the state of Illinois in rebounding last year as a senior, anchors this NC State bench.
Good job off the ball by NC State's defense.
Southerly. And that's offensive. Isaiah James gliding on the court, taking the charge.
Isaiah, great job there defensively. She really came off, prevented the Buccaneers from coming off the screen, and then on the kickover, drew the charge.
19 fouls for ETSU. When the Bucks had a lead late in the second, it's kind of shifted since. Wolfpack have lived in transition, and as you expect from a top 10 team, they've found some balanced scoring, 4 in double figures. Rivers stripped. I like this Richardson kid. She can play. As James drops it in.
Freshman out of Orlando, Florida. Good find by Coach Mock Brown.
Isaiah James, preseason all ACC, up to 15 points, where she had 10 20-point games a year ago. How vital is her scoring for the Pack this year?
I think it's huge. You saw it in the NCAA run last year where she scored 23 points a game. That's what the Pack needs to upset the top 10 teams that they're going to see this year.
A nice bucket for Richardson there as James and these 3 guards for the Pack, all ACC caliber.
When she elevated her game, the Pack's game elevated.
What a time by James, finding Brooks. A woo on the boards. And you got to say it with like a woo. A woo.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be a future cheer at the Reynolds Coliseum as she becomes a star for the Pack.
It is interesting talking to Don Bullis, the PA announcer. The traditions you build over time with these young players. And here's a foul on the floor.
And they have a lot of fun with it, too. A lot of different places I've worked at. All kinds of different fun little sayings and pronunciations. And it really brings the crowd into it because they like that energy. And great job.
You think you're at NC State, great support. Lisa Canane, a fan favorite in the post. And that's what Westmore's hoping that Owu can become in a couple years.
You can see she's got the physical body to do it. She's young. Didn't play that much in high school when she was younger. Now really coming into her own.
Now pressuring the inbound with Hunt. Isabella, the old soul in the paint. Nice screen for Jaden Harper, who checks in and airballs the shot. Lions the board.
Another offensive rebound.
Lions with 5. Second chance, another air ball. Hunt is there. That's a live ball to Lacey Steele. Could this be the dagger for NC State? Owu. Owu. Not that time. Look at Baldwin. Or sorry, look at Rivers flying in.
Oh, Lacey Steele got hit in the nose. She's bleeding.
So they'll stop the clock and check on Lacey with the athletic training staff, where Brittany Blunt and her crew will go to work. There's Brittany.
I could see Lacey was a little shaken up after that rebound.
Sometimes you don't feel those things too, and you need someone to say, hey, look at your face.
Right. She walked up the court, but then when I looked over, you could see 2 streams of blood.
And as a married man, I've learned never say look at your face when talking about a woman.
Yes.
Everything's okay.
Yes, hopefully everything's okay. It bled so quickly. You hope it's not a longer-term injury, just a nosebleed.
Lacey being helped out by the great staff here, led by Brittany Blunt. 10 on the clock for Zoe Brooks, who's having a great second half, double figures in the final frame.
And I love coming off that double screen right there. It's so hard for the defense to cover, especially with Zoe's penetration ability. So if she gets step back and hit a 3, she's going to be really difficult to guard.
Zoe Brooks was 1 player shy of the Freshman of the Year honors in the ACC. Hannah Hidalgo, who's one of the best players in the league, captured that award.
Right, that's an unfortunate year. She'd have been player or Freshman of the Year most years, but Hannah Hidalgo was so impressive.
In a 17-point game, NC State starting to flex its muscle. It's a loaded ACC here, Derek. 6 teams in the top 25, and you've seen early a slow start for Carolina against Charleston Southern. Slow start for NC State. Notre Dame off to a slow start. They eventually win all those teams, but how do you find your rhythm as a top 25 team?
It's so hard. Everybody with the transfer portal and all the changes. A lot of people always have newcomers. It's hard to get that rhythm this early. I mean, we're talking November 5th right now, and practice just started maybe a month ago. You got to be playing your best in February and March, and that's a long way away. So sometimes it's just getting into the court, getting on the court, getting in these games, developing that chemistry, because as much as you practice together, it just can't simulate what happens in games.
Which makes matchups with LSU, TCU, and South Carolina in the first month vital here for NC State.
And their first ACC match will be against Louisville on December 15th before Christmas. And Louisville, one of those top 25 teams, so it is a very difficult schedule for NC State.
Both coaches have their game faces on even still with 4.5 minutes left. ETSU will head back home for Jackson State, and Wes Moore's team heads to Charlotte to face #1 South Carolina. A rematch of the Final Four as Foley heaves a 3. You got to like the 8 of 28, though. I know a low percentage, but a lot of makes for ETSU.
Yes, and that's not a bad shot right there. You can see Coach Mark Brown was nodding her head to Foley. A couple of feet behind the line, but if anybody's going to go under the screen on her, she's going to pop that 3.
Zoe Brooks having a great night, but there's an illegal screen on a Wu. A play that in high school you probably get away with, but not here in college.
Right, and even maybe last year, but it's a point of emphasis this year. You've got to be clean. If you're going to run a pick and roll, you can't just swing your elbow and throw yourself into it.
Okay, Derek, you coach at the college level. Do you have a sheet of like emphasis points and you bring it out to the coach and talk about these things?
Well, every year the NCAA comes out with that point of emphasis late in the summer. You will read through it and see what's being called. Most of the time you see it happen a lot in November, and by January it's sort of gone by the wayside. But
we saw it last year. It was the arc in the middle gets eliminated, so there's more room to take those charges. This year it's those screens.
Right, and they always early are really going to call it because they want teams to learn, hey, you just can't do that. You can't do, even though that's probably what you've been taught for years, is to pick and roll and take out the defender. They're not going to let you do that this year, so you've got to adjust. You see it on film, and you'll adjust in practice.
That has led to 30 combined turnovers, a couple of illegal screens tonight. But here in the second half, NC State, a 7-0 run starting to pull away. Rivers in the passing lane. Here's a 3. 9th triple, and that's Gemma Grudner-Bakul out of Germany.
She was a scorer in junior college at McCook Community College. Really will be an effective scorer for the Bucks this year.
As will as Zia James. She's cooking with 17.
She makes it look so easy sometimes, just smooth. And you know it's not easy to get to the paint, but she's so quick off the dribble.
Remember, James only had 2 points in the first half, so 15 coming out of the break.
Well, and there was some rust. James was not in the exhibition game, so she's a little rusty at the beginning, but now starting to come out into her own, which is exactly what you need going into Sunday.
Those talented guards, Zia James and Sanaya Rivers, anchor a really talented guard group for NC State. And as we kickstart this young season, it's one thing to be the team picked 8th in the conference, low expectations, but now it's top 10. It's All-American candidates, and Ann Myers-Drysdale Player of the Year watch list. It's a different mindset when you're 2 of the best 25 players in the country.
Right, the expectations are so much higher. Last year, as an unranked team, if you come into your opener, you win, you're up by 18, everybody's happy, everybody's pleased. This year, you're ranked 9th in the country. You're like, well, why didn't you win by more? So it's a heavy crown to carry when you're a Final Four team and those expectations are high, but NC State welcomes that, and we'll really see as some of these early non-conference games whether James and Rivers are up to the task.
Tonight they've lived up to it with a big second halves, both in double figures.
We asked Coach Moore what's the biggest thing his team needs to do to try and finish the season in Tampa at the Final Four, and he said it's 2 things really. The young posts, they've got to step it up, particularly with defensive and rebounding, but the guards have to be the stars. The James and Rivers have done it before. They've got to lead this team, and in the second half, that's what we've seen.
Top 4 scorers all in double figures for the Pack. Worth noting, only 9 have scored tonight. Typically a team that's a little deeper but getting the young legs out as that shot's affected by Hayes. Her presence was big in the second half. It's the Zoe Brooks show, ripping passes across the court. Wu. Nice bucket for Wu down low.
I really like that rip crew move right there. That's something you could tell they probably worked on in practice. She just ripped it hard, finished with the left hand. That's a veteran move right there, and she's doing it as a freshman.
Hood off on the 3 as we near the 2-minute mark. NC State will now win 20+ straight against non-ranked opponents here at home. As there's a miss, a Wu. Uh-oh, Hayes goes down. I'll check on Madison in a second. Wonder if State will foul her to stop clock. Okay, there's Madison getting back up, but clearly that ankle a bit bothered.
Right, good to see her back up. Two minutes to go. Trying to get the rebound, lands on, it looks like Lorena Wu's
I think
foot.
Stepped on her there.
Yeah. At first, yeah, you see her grab for the ankle, but 2 minutes to go, you'll get her out, maybe put some ice on it, but she looks okay. She looks more frustrated than anything that sprained her ankle.
So Maddie Cox, the sophomore forward at Flower Mound, Texas, comes in. And Traeger re-enters. Jayden Harper goes to work. So Jones gets moving. It is fun to see these new faces for NC State as Brooks lays it in 21 points.
Very talented. Love seeing her on the wing in transition. First time we've seen Jones and Brooks together, both point guards. I think you're going to see a lot of that. This year you've got a lot of seniors for the pack, but starting next year, there's no juniors on this team, so those sophomores and freshmen will have to lead.
By the way, new career high for Zoe Brooks, 21 in year 2. This is the redemption year for Zoe. Or the 6th man, the backup point guard, but taking over duties today. James sets her up for 24. Not feeling that one. Cox the board. A State team that was down 6 late in the first half, but have found offense since. Cox for 3. Traeger, the giant in the paint. Traeger, welcome to the scorecard. First career bucket.
Showing off her strength right there. Buccaneers tried to rip it away from her, but she goes up, finishes with the and one.
With her mom and dad in attendance, Traeger putting on a show.
Great rebound right here, using her height, but then using her strength right here. Rips it through, finishes, and now she's got a chance for the three-point play.
There's the Traeger family from Stockholm, Sweden. And a three-point play.
Got a beautiful looking jump shot. If she can add to that with some strength in the interior, she's got a great future.
Wes Moore loves this freshman class, and we've seen 4 of them tonight. Nice drive late in the clock. Traeger affects it. And in a game that was single digits in the 4th quarter, that has blown open since. Here's a jump ball. Possession NC State.
Both coaches probably happy to see. Still playing very hard. We're in the last minute. Both teams still being aggressive. I think for East Tennessee State, Coach Brenda Brown, has to be very pleased with the effort. A 25-point game, you look at the final score, you go, I don't know how good that was, but for 3 quarters, they stayed right with the pack. They stayed poised anytime the crowd got into it. With 9 newcomers, they look like a team that's going to compete in the Southern Conference.
Watch out, Southern Conference. Wofford the favorite. ETSU putting on a show, but tonight it's about NC State. With #1 South Carolina looming. This team found its offense here in the second half. The #9 team in the country flexes its muscle here in the second half and pulls away for a convincing season opening victory.
NC State struggled a little bit early, but they really turned it on, as you said, and the guards came on. I think they've got a lot on film that they know they need to work on, but anytime you can take an early win, you take it. You've got a few days to practice for a huge matchup with South Carolina right around the corner.
What a debut for Zoe Brooks. She's got 21, and we're talking to Isaiah James when we come back. Fun night to wrap things up here in Raleigh. Stay tuned for the interview. Welcome back to Raleigh, where Isaiah James, our player of the game, 17 points, 9 boards, and we have Isaiah here. I like the defensive effort there too tonight.
Thank you, thank you.
What do you think was the difference? It was a slow first half for this NC State team. What flipped there in the second half?
You know, we went into our film room and we talked amongst each other and say, we got to get better. You know, our shots not falling, so we got to attack them. We got to do less turnovers. There's no way we should have had 12 turnovers in the first half. That's no way, impossible. That was super bad for us.
Well, thanks for joining us, Isaiah. I have an important journalism question. Yeah. So you wear a headband, but the Adidas is flipped upside down. Is that for a reason?
No, it's just a little swag. You know, I always come with a little something. I just want to be a little different. You know, so just an upside down Adidas sign. It was good for me.
And what I loved about tonight, you started off a little rusty, as you said. You've been coming off an injury, but your defense was really strong. I saw you cutting off passes, getting steals. Talk about how important it is for you to be a leader for this team.
Definitely. You know, Coach Moore always says defense wins games, so that's definitely going to keep us on the floor. So just playing more, you know, intensity with our defense, you know, is going to get the job done.
Isaiah, thanks for the time and congrats.
Thank you.
That's Isaiah James wrapping up a big win here for NC State. They gear up for #1 South Carolina coming up next week on Sunday. And Derek, balanced scoring night for the Pack, but Zoe Brooks with a great debut. Just an impressive win in the second half.
And Zoe Brooks' talent is immense. She's now starting at the point guard. She's really getting comfortable in that position. Gives her a chance not just to distribute to her teammates, but more opportunities to score. Career high, as you mentioned. Also, James and Rivers showed up in the second half. Really, I think NC State feels good about how they're going into Sunday.
Thanks for joining us tonight. It was a banner-raising kind of night. NC State celebrating a Final Four and finding its sea legs in the second half, pulling away late over ETSU. Thanks for joining us here in Raleigh. The Wolfpack gear up for #1 South Carolina. This is a presentation of ESPN. For Derek Jordan, for Danny Zolfel, the Birdman, Matt Bird, our director. I'm Evan Bugdrovich. Great night for basketball. NC State, ETSU, a fun battle. And the Wolfpack pulled away late. Have a good night. We'll see you next time from Raleigh.